So, welcome back, everyone. Our session today is our journey with Domain 3, Part A, Project Governance and Management. So, what we see here. So, our session today is going to be a little long. So, let's understand what are the things that we see here. Project management practices, project management structure, project management roles and responsibilities, project management techniques, portfolio or program management, project management office, project benefits realization, project initiation, project objectives, project planning, project execution, project controlling and monitoring, project closing, and IS auditor's role in project management. See, this all topics are covered to an extent which is required in Cisa. But if you would want to understand much further on project management, I am ready to have a separate detailed session on that. Please do reach out to me. My contacts are there. Please do reach out to me. And if we have a sufficient demand and a sufficient requirement, we can go for a separate session on project management, which should cover the principles of project management and the entire PM. So, on project management practices. So, from an IS audit perspective, project management generally starts with the project charter and ends with the project completion. So it will depend upon the deliverables, quality, cost, and the deadlines, and it will also depend upon the dynamics of the team which is involved in such project management practices, or the team which is actually executing the project. So there has to be some human element to it on team dynamics, on conflict resolutions, on leadership issues. So depending upon the project manager or a person who is driving the project, these things will frame up. Generally, how is the project management structure? So generally, there are four structures. There are three structures which are present. One is a functional structured organization. You have a project structured organization, and you have a matrix structured organization. So in a functional structured organization, project manager is having no formal authority, and there are various departments where the work is broken down. So people sit in those departments. So HR sits there, finance sits there, marketing sits there. Suppose all of them are involved in a specific project. So the project manager will not have any formal authority over them as such, but he needs to get the work executed through these departments. You would have a project structured organization where a project manager has a proper formal authority over the project. So he or she manages the budget, the schedules, and it all, the deliveries, and everything. So all the people, whoever are required from different departments, are actually reporting to the project manager. Or else you would have a matrix structured project organization where the project authority shared between the project manager and the department heads. So you would have a mixture of the authority coming from the project manager itself as well as the department head. So it's a mixture of both. And as we saw initially, that major projects are prioritized by the IT steering committee. So the IT steering committee sets up the project team, and IS auditor here might step in to give an independent view so as to ensure that there is proper commitment from all people who are involved. Now, this portion, this understanding that IT steering committee actually gives priorities for major projects is a very important aspect which an IS auditor needs to understand when he or she is auditing the IT steering committee. Project management roles and responsibilities. So, as I said, you have the project steering committee. So, project steering committee will actually provide the overall direction. It will ensure that people are getting properly represented. It will look after the deliverables, the costs, and the schedule. It will review the project progress, and it will serve as a coordinator as well as an advisor, and it will take required corrective actions. So, project management, again, a portion of it comes from the senior management also. So, senior management's role here is basically on commitments. Yes, commitment is what is going to drive the project. Approvals. At points, approvals will be required. So again, senior management will come in. Project sponsor is a person who actually does the funding of the project and ultimately takes the data and application ownership of the project. User, the user management part. So user management takes ownership of the project and the resulting systems. User management again, or the user manager is going to allocate qualified personnel to the project, will participate in business process redesigns. System requirement definitions will come from this team. Acceptance testing of a particular project and user training will be done by this user management group. And review and approving the system deliverables will be done by the user management group. User project team. So user project team is nothing but people who actually complete whatever tasks are assigned to them. So they will effectively communicate between the system developers and the other people and will advise the project manager of expected and actual project plan deviations. Project manager. Project manager actually looks after the day-to-day management of the project, takes leadership of the project. We already discussed all this. So I'm just taking you through the main duties or main functions of a project manager, but these are not the only. There could be many more. Ensures project remains in line. Quality assurance. Quality assurance will actually review the results after each phase. You'll see, okay, this was what the intended result was supposed to be. Is it coming out that way? It will ensure quality of the project and review it as per the software development lifecycle. Systems development management. So systems development management will provide technical support for hardware, software environments, assurance systems that yes, this is compatible with the organization's computing environment. So something which actually is what fits into the organization's computing environment. System development project team will complete a specific assigned task, communicate effectively with the users. Security officer will ensure that okay, the entire project, the entire deliverable has proper security measures incorporated into it. Information security engineer, they will identify the security vulnerability so as to say that yes, if I am developing a application, might be an information system security engineer will actually develop or find out or identify which are the security vulnerabilities inside that application so that that can be clubbed. Project management techniques. So what are the techniques? So project management techniques actually deals with the interrelations between three things. One is deliverable. This is what I am supposed to deliver within this time and within this budget. So how is it being done? That is what all project management techniques is about. It could be a manual way, it could be a computerized way. So what's a portfolio management and what's a program management? So basically we need to understand these terms. So project portfolio is all the projects which are there in an organization at some point of time. So you have project A, you have project B, you have project C, you have project D. So these are all independent projects which are there. A program management actually is a culmination of all these projects, but then they are related somewhere. So if you are delivering a big project to a client, which you could say that okay, we will build out a data center for the client. Then we will ensure that the data center is working properly, connectivities, availabilities. Then maybe we will look after the software, maybe a SAP system. So all these things could be a project by themselves. But the entire completion of the entire project, I wouldn't call it a project then. I would actually call it a program because these all projects are linked. So that's a program. So these all activities are generally handled by the project management office, which is the PMO office. So this is nothing, again, as I said, it's not limited to only the scope, financials, deliverables, context and environment, communication, culture and organization. So program roles could be, say, a program owner, program manager, a program team, something similar to a project manager, project owner, project team. So what does a project management office do? So it ensures that the project gets its success. It ensures that the optimization of the project portfolio is available. It prioritizes and schedules projects properly. It ensures that there is proper resource coordination, both internal and external. And in case there are multiple projects running, there is a proper transfer of knowledge between the projects. Because at the end of a project, the knowledge or the drawbacks and the pluses of any project delivery is captured by the PMO. That is knowledge. So that how it gets transferred from project to project. So project benefits realization. So how is it understood? So they will actually, any IT enabled business, all the investments that are done, it has to be on a measurable business value that needs to be measured properly. It has to ensure that the required capabilities are developed properly, and IT services and the various IT assets which are related to them contribute and keep delivering as required to business. As a project starts, the project initiation, how is it done? So it could be as mundane as a one-on-one meeting. So it could be the person who is involved. So it could be just the other person across and they could do it. It could be a formal meeting like a kickoff meeting where all the people should be present and then the entire plan would be presented. And it could be a project start workshop where an entire workshop is there where the users are also present, where and the person who has sponsored it is present and the project manager of course is present. So it's a big team where, and it's a long affair than a kickoff meeting or a one-on-one meeting. It could be for days together where the entire structure would be set up and it could be explained, or it could be a combination of the above three. So project objectives. So project objectives need to be smart, basically. So smart is nothing but it needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So the project objective has to be very specific. It has to be measurable. It should be attainable. It should be realistic, and it should be timely. I cannot have a project objective for something which I'm going to deliver tomorrow after 10 years. So once the objective is set, it starts with having a proper object breakdown structure. From the object breakdown structure, we would have a work breakdown structure. So if it would, call for, okay, we need to have an automized service desk. So that could be your objective. So then you would have an object breakdown structure from it. How are we going to achieve that? And work breakdown structure will actually give you the work that would be needed inside it. And work packages would be how you're going to accomplish that work. Again, you can break down a work package also to have the track list and the task list where you could actually track all the tasks which are happening. Project planning. So a PM or the project manager basically starts with understanding what is the scope of the project. Then goes about understanding what are the various tasks needed to perform that project. It also goes on to understand what are the sequences that these activities are going to happen, how much time it would take, what would be the priority of the tasks that they're doing, IT and non-IT supporting resources that would be available and required, budget or costing for each task, and sources or means for funding for labor, services, materials, plant and equipment, and resources. So project planning, there are different sizing and measurement techniques. So one of them is an information system development project cost estimation. You could have an analogous estimation where you would actually estimate it from the previous project. So you would have a previous project of a similar size and you would say, okay, so this is also going to cost this much. Parametric estimating, You would actually do a statistical method with the past data. It was done 10 years ago, this kind of a project, and you have the current costs factored in. Okay, now how much it might cost up. Bottom up estimating, so each activity you would start from the bottom and you would go to the top. Actual cost, you would extrapolate from actual costs which are incurred, say for a similar project some years ago or last time, and you would extrapolate it to now. So you could do it through the software size estimation. So you would actually see it from the source line of code. So you would say, okay, this is a source line of code. It takes so much time to do it, so much cost. So I have 100 source lines of code. So it is going to take me into 100 possibly. So function point analysis is another way of doing it. So in case there is a complex project where you have multiple complexities of inputs, outputs, files, interfaces, or queries, and you have different sizes coming in, you have entries which are complex. So you need to understand how it happens out there. So you're going to study, okay, this particular entry, is it simple, average, or complex? Is it a very complex project? What are the linkages out there? And you're going to estimate it that way. Cost budgets is another way of doing it. So you would, task costs of personals by hour type, by machine hours. Okay, so this is a person of grade A, spent so much hours on the machine, and I have taken in so much external third party softwares, cost comes this much. Software cost estimation. So it will depend upon the software size estimation, and it would include elements like source code language, computer access, staff experience, et al. Scheduling and establishing the time frame. So we will need to understand sequential relationship between the tasks. So how as a sequence the tasks are flowing. And we need to also understand, okay, this is the earliest start date and this is the latest expected finish date. You would have this. Gantt charts. Gantt charts are important to understand, okay, this will show me the start and end of an activity along a particular timeline. Critical path methodology. So CPM. So CPM is the critical path which would be present in any project, which would be minimum time which would be required, okay, to finish this project. Program evaluation and review techniques. So uses three different estimates of each activity duration. So what it does is basically it will actually take the most probable, the most earliest, and the CPM, and then it would actually have a calculation to arrive at this figure. And time box management would actually define and deploy deliverables in a very short time, in a fixed time, and with predetermined resources. Project execution. So execution will happen only after the project is complete of the planning efforts. So how do I control the project and monitor it? So the important elements in controlling would crop up from a scope change. So if a project has started and then there is a scope change in the middle, how do I manage it? Again, resources. How do I manage using of the resources? With all this combination, the risk would come in. So how would I manage the risk? Project closing would be handing over all the relevant documents and have learnings documented properly. So IAS auditor's role in project management. So where does the IAS auditor fit in? Again, a very important point from an IAS auditor's perspective, also from a Cisa exam perspective. So IAS auditor actually needs to understand, okay, I need to meet the key system developments or the user teams to understand the relevance of the project. So I need to also have a proper selection of appropriate controls with system development. Are there any authoritative sources from where these inputs have come in? So I'll need to understand whether there are reference to such sources. I'll have to see what are the controls which are available. I'll have to periodically meet with the system development team. I'll have to identify and test the existing controls which have already been in place. I have to check the test results. I'll have to review appropriate documentation and participate in post implementation reviews. So, with this, we come to an end of our session today. I know it's been a long session, so thanks for hearing me out.